Conservative New Media viewers all around the world, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal. Today I want to talk to you about one of the world's most incredible mysteries and one of Christianity's most sacred relics, and that is the Shroud of Turin. Now, if you haven't heard about this, it's definitely something you need to hear about. And there's a huge debate about this entire thing that remains unsettled to this day. Nobody knows how the shroud was made, and nobody knows for sure exactly what it is. The claims are, here's what we do know. There are claims by people that are religious that this is the actual burial cloth of the Savior Jesus Christ. Okay? In that religion, in Christianity. That's what, that's what some, I'm not saying that that's official church policy, because I don't think that it is, but I'm not sure that the church has spoken out about it. But, there are sections of Christianity that believe that. Others, that are, let's say, skeptics, believe that it's a hoax, and that it's something that was created in the Middle Ages. Here's what we do know right now, and here's importantly, the shroud is an actual, it's a cloth, and it has an image of a person, of a man who has suffered injuries that are consistent with being crucified. I mean, that right there is amazing. Okay. Number one. Number two, the shroud is best viewed in a film negative. Now, when you think about that, whether that was made in the Middle Ages or whether that was actually made around the time of the death of Jesus Christ, either way, there were no cameras then. There was no photography. How could that even be necessarily, contemplate? In other words, in my personal opinion, it's all my personal opinion, knowledge, facts, casting, inspiration, check disclaimers. In my personal opinion, you can't set up a quote-unquote hoax like that. Now, that doesn't mean this is the actual burial cloth of Jesus Christ, but don't tell me it was set up to be a hoax in that way. Okay, that's number one. So when you look at this, when you look at photographs of the shroud in natural light as the positive, this and that, whatever, versus a negative, it's very interesting the differences there. Now, the other thing that we know is that nobody to this day has been able to duplicate this, and all kinds of scientists have tried. So if it was just a hoax and it was so easy to do and this and that, whatever, why can't anybody duplicate it? That's amazing. And I don't care if you're the biggest skeptic in the world, that right there is amazing. I'm talking scientists all around the globe have tried to duplicate this, failed, from what I've seen, my personal opinion. Now, here's also what we know. What we know is that sometime around 1356, over there in Europe, a French knight produced this shroud. And wouldn't say where it came from. Now, there's all kinds of theories. There are theories that this was always a relic of the church. There is theories that somehow the Knights Templar and that secret society were involved in this. There's a lot of different theories and all kinds of articles surrounding this. And you definitely need to do your research on this. But there are some other things to think about here. There was also the skeptics hang themselves, or hang a lot of their beliefs, if you will, or theories, on carbon-14 dating that the shroud was subjected to, which would put it around the Middle Ages. Here's some problems with that. There is new evidence that the shroud was actually repaired. And it was repaired somewhere in the Middle Ages by some kind of invisible weaving technique or whatnot. I guess there was a fire or whatnot. And the shroud was, there were sections of the shroud that were repaired. New evidence has come out that the carbon-14 dating that they did on the shroud, the little section, was actually from the repaired section, which would make the carbon-14 dating invalid. And there's now other theories that say, yeah, this thing probably is as old as around the time that Jesus Christ was alive. There's another thing I would throw in there, which is this. If the shroud was from around the time of Jesus Christ, and it somehow was connected to Jesus Christ, in other words, it was placed on him. Well, how do you get the shroud if the tomb isn't open? So you can't have Jesus Christ's shroud if the tomb wasn't open, which would then get into additional evidence. I won't say proof, because you could open, other people who have opened the tomb later, but additional evidence of an actual resurrection and religious implications. The bottom line for me is this: nothing is proven one way or the other, but it is remarkable to me that we have this absolute artifact that cannot be duplicated. Nobody knows how it was formed. There are theories that this could have been formed by a very complex natural reaction between chemicals and whatnot, whatever. But again, it's a theory. Nobody has done it. Why aren't there more of these? How come this is the only copy? Why haven't we seen this replicated? Why can't scientists do it again? And why does it show such a distinct, different kind of look in a negative? There's so many different things around this that are simply fascinating. And from my point of view, this is something we need to study a lot more, and it raises almost more questions than answers, and that's exciting. There's a lot of things here that raise a lot of questions. There's a lot of things here that are just a little unusual. And that's what makes it so great. So we need to learn more about this, and I wanted to bring you one of the world's truly great mysteries and a piece of an artifact from Christianity that is highly revered in many circles. And I think this has been shown around the world, and I think, I don't know if it's in total or last year, but 2 million people made a pilgrimage to see this thing. So it's something that is worth closer examination by you. Reporting for Conservative New Media, I'm John D. Villarreal, and we will see you next time.